It is time to see what is on tap. Kyle Stackpole here with me. Kyle, it's very early, but we know everybody likes superlatives. Typically, though, they come at the end of the season once you've seen their body of work. But we're 3 days in pads, and you've decided you're going to hand out some that are way too early. Let's go through this. If I'm going to tee you up here first, I'm going to go with the biggest surprise so far.
Yeah, so the biggest surprise, I'm going to go with Troy Apke. First 3 days of camp that we've seen, he's been the starting free safety along with Landon Collins. And a lot of people were kind of surprised by that. They expected Sean Davis to come in, and he was the one that would be paired with Landon. But it's been Troy Apke, third-year pro out of Penn State. Rivera loves his athleticism, loves his smarts, the way he gets to the football. So he's been surprising so far, but it seems like he's the front runner to get that job. So Troy Apke is the biggest surprise. But I have two more for you, a little more under the radar. There's defensive end Jordan Brailford, seventh rounder from last year. He's really flashed with the twos and the threes so far. And then tight end Marcus Baugh, who's been working in with Logan Thomas with the first team. He's someone that Washington signed this offseason. He was with Rivera in Carolina last year. And he's someone who no one really talked about, but he looks pretty good to make this roster.
And we know that they need a tight end to be able to step up. That's one of the biggest question marks on this roster going forward. How about the biggest standout?
Biggest standout, and we've talked about him a lot. I'm going to go with Montez Sweat. Second year guy. He's bulked up. He has a year of experience, and it's really shown these first couple of days. He's taking on blockers, beating tackles, stuffing running backs. Today, he blasted through the line and strip sacked Dwayne Haskins. So everyone's talking about Chase Young, and people have been high on Montez Sweat, and now everyone else is starting to come around like, hey, this guy had a great end to last year, and he's looking like he's going to continue it this year.
And having Chase Young right out there with him when he is out there, I know that's motivating for Montez because he wants to say, you know what, I was deserved as well of that first round draft pick and wants to earn it. So it's only going to be good to make him kind of compete against each other and get the best out of each other as well as camp does go on. What about if we move on to most likely to get paid? I have a feeling there's probably anybody and everybody on the roster wants to be on this one for you.
Yes, everyone wants to get paid, and one person who's going to get paid is Brennan Sheriff, but that's not the one I'm going with. I'm going to go with Ryan Kerrigan. He's motivated. He's flying a little bit under the radar with all the young talent on the defensive line. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and playing in the 4-3 defense, I think he's going to have a big year, and I think the coaching staff and the team's going to reward him with a contract extension.
All right, I like that. How about, it's always about who gets to go to the Pro Bowl. We need some Pro Bowl caliber players. Who is it for you?
So for me, it has to be Terry McLaurin. After one of the best seasons in Washington history by a rookie receiver, he's going to be getting a ton of opportunities to make plays. He's now the go-to number one receiver in this offense. Pro Football Focus rated him as the 13th wide receiver in football. So I think if he can make the most of his opportunities and stay healthy, which is his number one goal this year, he's going to have a good chance to break through and make the Pro Bowl for the first time.
I just love his story. He came in supposed to be a star in special teams, and I have no doubt he'd be making a Pro Bowl this season. So love to see where his career is heading. Biggest overreaction?
I think the biggest overreaction would be that Dontrelle Inman is just a training camp body. He got signed really late in the process, and people didn't really know what to make of it. They thought that they were just bringing him in to be that veteran presence with a really young wide receiver group. But then we come out at practice, and he's working with the ones. He's with McLaurin, Steve Sims, and Dwayne Haskins. And he's done really well. He's shown a good rapport with Dwayne Haskins. They've seemed to have good chemistry. He's made a bunch of catches. So not only does it seem like he's going to make this roster, it seems like he might start when Washington plays Philadelphia.
I mean, if you talk about it, there's a lot of really young receivers on this team. He comes in as a vet, having been around playing many years. I think they're saying if he can get them to week 5 or 6, a little bit in the season until some of the rookies or others are really caught up, then he served his purpose. So they're planning on using him this season to start. What about best swag?
Best swag. So I don't know if I'm the best judge, but I'm going to go with Landon Collins. People talk about Steven Sims. He's got the headband. He thinks he has the most swag. He had the gold pants out at practice. You have Chase Young. He was wearing 2 different shoes yesterday, which I really liked. But Landon Collins with the visor, the headband, and just how he presents himself on the field. He's so cool, calm, collective. he knows that he has swag, but he doesn't need to flaunt it or say it. So, Landon, I'm going with you. Sorry, Steve.
Even the shorts, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. How about the coach you'd most likely want to have a Bud Light Seltzer with?
So, if you asked me this earlier this week, I would have really had no idea because we haven't seen the coaches out in the field yet. But after watching practice, it's got to be defensive backs coach Chris Harris. He's so motivated, he's so energetic, so passionate. He gets the DBs fired up. There was actually one instance today where Cameron Curl dropped an interception and Chris Harris is screaming, "You don't like nice things? What's going on here?" And then later in practice, when you had Greg Stroman got an interception, he was going crazy. He was the one who started the whole frenzy with the defensive backs. So he really gets them going. And I would love to just hang out with him. And his energy is really infectious.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. I might just stick with Randy Jordan.
I
I
like that.
love his job. I want to be able to be out there with him, like when the running backs are going through their individual drills. But there's a lot of coaches we have to get to know on this team as well as we go forward to end this season.